Unavailable.
Hi everybody, it's Sam. Today is, I think, the 23rd.
User stop 5 clicks. Clock 2:25 p.m. Wednesday, 5:22.
22nd. It's a good thing I checked the date. Today is the 22nd of May, and I am doing a vlog. I haven't done a vlog in the longest time, I don't believe. So I'm going to do a vlog and keep you guys up to date on what's going on. So I think the last we checked, I forget what I talked about last on my last vlog. But I will say that if you guys haven't known, that I am signed up with a therapist at Trilogy. I got her information. Her name is Janae Todd, like Janae Todd, and she works at Trilogy. She does. I also got a list of all the groups they have at Trilogy, which is they have like tons of groups. They have things. Oh shush. Sorry. They have things like a drama group. They have music group. They have art group. They have DBT. They have anxiety management, depression management, anger management. You know, manage everything. They have a schizophrenia group. They have so anyways, just tons of groups. Tons of stuff going on. So she runs some of the groups. So she runs a schizophrenia group, she runs a knitting group, she runs DBT, and I think that's it. Or maybe an anxiety management group, I'm not sure. Or depression. But, yeah, they have so much stuff going on, it's not even funny. And it was like that in 2012. I went and I got some good things out of going to Trilogy when I was at Friedman Place, and they kind of helped me out. You know, it's unclear if I hadn't had my suicide attempt, if I had been able to stay at Friedman, if things would have been better. I mean, if Trilogy could have continued to help me there and whatever, but we won't know because it didn't happen that way. Yeah. So Janae, it seems very nice. And so what we're gonna do is I was gonna see her, I think not this past week, but the week before. But then the elevator construction started to happen, and we were all worried about how was it gonna go, and how was it gonna go climbing on those stairs, and how agitated was I gonna be, and how agitated was Jess gonna be, and we didn't know. So it turns out we are about 2 weeks into it, and we're doing pretty okay. They're ahead of schedule. So they're ahead of schedule, which means that their first phase of it is done. They're on to the second phase, but they're actually so ahead of schedule that they need more parts that haven't come in yet, because they're ahead of schedule. So we're taking the stairs like good little troopers, and we're doing okay. Nothing has happened yet. No, I almost fell going up the stairs, but Jesse caught me. So nothing bad has happened. Things are a little turned upside down with the nurse's station being in the small dining room, and then eating in the large dining room, and having to walk all your stuff over there from where you get served, fit everybody and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a little crazy, but it's not as bad, I think, as what we thought it was going to be. So we thought it was going to be really bad, so we decided to just hold off on it. But I did talk to her this past Monday, and I explained what was going on, and I said, and I told staff here, because I'm like, I finally got this therapist, because I was gonna just postpone it till the elevator was done. I was like, I don't want to stress myself out, everything else like that. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait. But then I'm like, you know what? I finally got a therapist after, losing Megan and being stupid and leaving therapy. And it's taken forever to find someone. So I don't want to wait, because I asked them, I said, well, what if I wait a couple months for this to be done, will I have to do the intake again? They said, no, you won't have to do the intake again, which I figured, because if they kept my records from 2012, then they have my records from, and that car's music. I do not want on our video, but oh well. Then an intake from a month ago shouldn't be that much of a problem. But she said, you might not have me because it depends on if my caseload is open. And I'm thinking, I don't know what went into matching me with Janae. And I assume it was a difficult match to make, because how can it not be when every other therapy place I've called, every other therapist says, no, we can't help with this. Like, it had to take a little bit to make that match happen. So I'm like, I don't want to mess that up. I want to fix this, So I was like, I told staff, I'm like, hey, I actually need your help. And they actually seem helpful on this front and in a good mood. My caseworker seems like she's in a better mood than I've seen her in a while. This guy, Robert, who used to be her supervisor, who is now the assistant to Sarah, who used to be clinical director. Anyways, Robert is helpful. Everyone seems like they're in a pretty good mood on things, which kind of surprises me. Maybe we should have construction more often, and it'll get everyone all happy. But anyways, sorry. The minute I get on the video, I start yawning. So I am going to be seeing her next Wednesday, a week from today, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll have my first session with Janae, and I'll say, hey, Janae, I need your help. Janae sounds like a cool woman name. Like, cool, man. My name's Janae. I don't know. So yeah, I can't wait. It can't come fast enough. Yesterday I saw Dr. Cleary. I was a little bit concerned about my weight because I gained 10 pounds in a month. And I know that these antipsychotics are famous for that. And when I first told him about my weight, he was like, oh yeah, like I can switch the pill. And then it just so happened that we were in a room with a scale in it, and his dog kept trying to jump on the scale with me. I actually had lost some weight since I was weighed in the beginning of the month, so that's actually a good thing. I'm now down to 139, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, there's that. And then so I didn't need to switch my pill, obviously, because the weight is fine. So I talked to Cleary, and I said, Amber and Honey is still around, and I hear them internally. I've stopped hearing the voices that were kind of outside my ears, things, the more violent things that were around kind of bothering me. Whether you call it hallucinations or ghosts or whatever, I think that there is a difference between my experience of Honey and Amber, and my experience of these other, spirit type things, and the feelings I would get when they were around, feeling them around me, brushing against me, touching me, and that whole thing. So I think it's two things going on. I think it's dissociation and psychosis. That's just my thoughts, especially since I took an antipsychotic and it, made it better. Although one can argue it was just a fluke thing. I mean, just because you take something and it makes you feel better doesn't mean that automatically relates to what you just did. So I don't know though. So we were talking, and he's, and I'd asked him so many times, I'd hounded him about a diagnosis, and he never gave me one. But except yesterday, he says, Amber and Honey sound like fragments of your psyche. That you have personality fragmentation. That's what he said. I'm like, okay. I've only been waiting for someone to tell me this for like a year or more. To hear from a professional that this is what's going on. Thank you. But then to think about it, it's like personality fragmentation. It's like, you think of who you are as a person as stable. You're supposed to be stable and whole and, know yourself in a lot of ways, and really, whole, not broken up or broken apart. And it just sounds so creepy. It's like I broke a bone and I have fragments just like floating around in my mind. That's kind of how it feels. But then again, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. No one said this from day one. There was a therapist that said on the phone, I remember her saying, and she cost like $140 a meeting, so I wasn't going to go to her, but she says, yeah, you just fragmented a little bit. It happens sometimes. I'm like, really? Wow. So yeah, I'm like, no, I have not heard of this just happening sometimes. I think it's a little bit more serious than that, and a little bit less, easily done, considering I've lived all my 29 years without it, and I know people that have DID, obviously, but I can't even make myself, just to think about I have fragmented personality just feels so weird and just so crazy. You have no idea, it just feels so crazy. And Jess is so good because she just kind of takes it as it comes, and she makes sure that, if I eat something and they want to eat it, that most of it goes to me. She makes sure that I'm aware of the conversations that they have because she tells me what they talk about. Sometimes I think she downplays how much I dissociate because she doesn't want me to get upset about dissociating, especially when I'm during a particular day and I'm fighting to not dissociate and just I will not dissociate. I'm not going to dissociate, and just trying to stay present so hard, and then whatever little thing pushes me back, and so I think sometimes she says oh, well, you weren't dissociated that long, or it wasn't that bad, and I can sometimes tell that a lot of time has gone by or whatever, and I just I can just feel that it's something's not right. And yeah, but they can be helpful, I guess. I mean, lately some of the things they do is just get me to take my bath, or brush my teeth, have my snack, get ready for bed, go downstairs, go to lunch, go to dinner, just daily things. And Claire yesterday was we have to figure out why those daily activities aren't accessible to you. I'm like, well, yeah, I know, I don't know. Angela, the art therapist, theory about that, Honey and Amber are around more when I am struggling. So they're there to sort of support me and get me to do the day-to-day stuff when I'm really struggling with my depression or anxiety. And when I wasn't struggling with those things, they were around less. Which was the case over those few months of time. That was a thing, because I had the input from Betty and the spiritual side of it going on for those few months, but then even that started to crumble and not be effective. Well, it wasn't, because I don't really have the faith to support a spiritual reasoning for something. It's just not in me, which is fine. It's not something I really want to do with anyways, but even with that support, I'm saying they started to come back on their own, and so clearly just saying they're ghosts, ignore them, is not helpful. So and asking me to live with them, and asking me to live with that level of sensory disorientation that I was having with all those feeling things, hearing things outside, all that stuff I was saying before, was not good. So Dr. Cleary and I were talking about, my medicines and how they're helping keep me balanced, keep some of that stuff away, but he says, the medicines can only do so much, and I said, yeah, I know. So he's like, you're getting legit therapy now? I'm like, yep. He's like, oh, that's good. So we talked for a few minutes, and he's not leaving. I thought he was leaving. We all thought he was leaving, but I guess he doesn't want to go to San Francisco. He says it's too expensive, so he'll be around for another little while. Chris says maybe in a year, but we'll see. So that's kind of my thoughts on hearing officially that I have personality fragmentation and not liking it at all. And my Zaprixa stayed the same. My meds are all the same, which is good. And I'll be seeing Janae next Wednesday. And be like, hey, Janae, I have personality fragmentation. Will you help me? like that just imagine going to a therapist and like saying that. But anyways, that's about all. Now I'll go back to aimlessly surfing the internet.
Mozilla, my movie, web, stop.